A few weeks ago, I put in an offer for a client that was $95,000 below asking. The home had been on the market for 19 days. The sellers were not panicking yet, but we told the listing agent that this is what the comps support. And if you come back to us later, it's only going to go lower from here. They pushed back. Then, a couple days later, we heard back from them and we took it. That's not luck. That's what's happening right now in Hamilton when a home has the wrong characteristics in the wrong market. Right now, Hamilton has 5 months of inventory. The average home is sitting 30 to 40 days that sells. Prices are down over 5% from last year. Buyers are not in a rush. They're not settling. And there are 10 specific types of homes that are getting skipped before a buyer even books a showing. They see the listing, they check the satellite view, they read the online description, talk to their realtor, and then they move on to the next one. If you're buying, you need to know which homes those are before you spend $1. And if you're selling, you need to know if your home is one of them before you list it. You're going to look at listings a lot differently after this. Because Hamilton is one of the most interesting real estate markets in Ontario right now. It's genuinely the tale of two markets. Clean, move-in ready, well-priced homes in the right locations are moving quickly. But the homes I'm about to describe, some of them are sitting for 60, 70, 80, 100 days. Some of them are not selling at all anywhere close to their asking price. In 2021, 2022, none of these things mattered. A raised bungalow with aluminum wiring backing onto a freight line still got multiple offers. No inspections, sellers were calling the shots. That market's long gone. Now, buyers have options, they have time, and they're choosing the clean listing every single time. Let's get into it, starting with the first on my list, 2-bedroom condo townhouses. This first one catches people off guard a little bit because on paper, it can look like a smart move. The price is a bit lower, the monthly costs might be manageable. It feels like a reasonable entry point into the Hamilton market. And fair enough, for the right person, maybe it is. The problem with this buyer pool, for a 2-bedroom condo townhouse, it's extremely thin. You're cutting out families almost immediately. You're cutting out anyone who would need a home office or a spare bedroom, and you're cutting out a lot of downsizers who want a guest room for grandkids or want a place without stairs. What you're left with is a very narrow slice of buyers, young couples, no kids yet, not planning to stay very long. And when that thin buyer pool is shopping in a market with 5+ months of inventory and condo prices down significantly year over year, they have negotiating power. They might be looking at single detached homes at this point. The 3-bedroom condo townhouse is a completely different story. That's what families want. Move-up buyers want them. The pool is bigger and the demand is more consistent. If you're standing at a crossroads between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom, that extra bedroom is worth far more than the price difference when it comes time to sell. And I know I say bedroom funny. People tell me that all the time. It's just the way I say it, okay? Number 2 are condos with high maintenance fees, maybe special assessments, or something else hiding within the condo docs. This one is the most financially dangerous on the list, and most buyers don't find out about it until they've already maybe emotionally committed to the unit. Then they send the status document that comes with condos over to their lawyer for review. That's when they find this stuff out. Hamilton has a lot of older condo and townhouse stock. Buildings on the mountain, complexes in Stony Creek, bungalow townhome communities throughout the East End, and in many of these buildings, maintenance fees have been creeping up for years as the reserve fund tries to catch up with the aging infrastructure. Here's why the fee matters more than most people realize. Lenders factor your monthly condo fee directly into your debt ratios and qualify you for that mortgage with those numbers. A $7 or $8 or $9 or $1,000 monthly fee on a $450,000 unit can potentially disqualify buyers who would have otherwise been able to afford the purchase price. You're not just dealing with a preference issue, you're dealing with a financial issue that eliminates buyers before they even walk through the door. But the fee is just the starting point. The real landmines are inside the status certificate and the condo documents. And I want to talk about 2 specific ones. Special assessments are one. If the reserve fund is underfunded and a major repair is coming, that cost gets passed on to individual owners. I've seen buyers get hit with assessments for tens of thousands of dollars shortly after closing. That information is hidden in those documents, but you need to read them and have your lawyer review them. Active lawsuits within the corporation, if the building is in litigation, whether that's against a developer, a contractor, or between the board and the owners, it can complicate financing and it signals that something has gone wrong that has not been resolved. And then there are the things that aren't financial. I had this exact situation with a client recently. It was a bungalow townhouse in a 55 plus community. Great unit, great price. Everything looked clean on the surface. It was actually going to be a great fit for them. We pulled the condo documents, got them reviewed, and found that radon had been detected in one of the other units in the complex. Not in this specific unit. It hadn't been tested. But that was enough. My buyers walked. Because this information exists in the building's history, every future buyer is going to find out about it, and every future buyer is going to have to decide what they want to do with that information. So always pull the status certificate, read the financials, read the meeting minutes, read the reserve fund study. If your agent is not walking you through these documents before you firm up, that's a problem. Number 3 is functionally obsolete layouts. Like I said, Hamilton has a lot of older stock, and that means that a lot of layouts that may have made sense in the 70s or 80s don't match how families live today. We're talking about the raised bungalow surrounded by 2-story detached homes, the side split with 6 half levels that you need someone to walk you through verbally during the showing just so you understand where everything is, the 4-bedroom home with only 1 bathroom, the closed-off kitchen tucked into the back corner where a cook is completely separated from everyone in the house. People love open concept these days. So when a buyer walks through a home, right now they have a mental checklist. Open concept main floor, 3 bedrooms on 1 level, at least 2 full bathrooms, a kitchen that connects to the dining room or the living space. If your home requires an explanation to make it work, you'll lose them. They're already on to the next listing. And they don't want to be wondering if this wall is load bearing and can I remove this? They have options, like I said. I've watched raised bungalows in Crown Point and parts of the East End sit through 2 full listing cycles. They expire, relist, then relist again, and they're wondering why they're not selling. Meanwhile, the 2-story detached 3 doors down is selling in under 3 weeks. Same neighborhood, similar square footage, completely different result. The layout was the difference. If you're one of these homes that's not selling, you can't price it against the 2-story down the street. It's not the same home. Price it against what homes like yours actually sell for, not what you think or hope that it's worth. And your agent really should be upfront with these things about you. If you're just being stubborn, then that's on you. That's another story. But number 4 is outdated infrastructure. This one is concentrated in specific Hamilton pockets, and if your home is one of them, pay close attention. Aluminum wiring, galvanized steel plumbing, HVAC rental contracts with companies like Enercare or Reliance, older Hamilton homes, particularly anything built from the 50s through the early 80s in areas like the North End or parts of the Barton Street corridor, Stipley, and pockets in the East Mountain. You need to know what's inside the walls before you list or before you buy. I had this issue with my home, even though we had an inspection done. They didn't notice the knob and tube that was just in one small section that was just difficult to get to. So I see why they did most of the electrical. The electricians who did it said, yeah, I could see why they just skipped this because it's kind of a tough area to get to. We had to deal with that. Aluminum or knob and tube is not a cosmetic issue. It's a financing issue and an insurance issue. A buyer's insurer inspects it, flags it, and either declines standard coverage or tells a buyer to rewire before the policy activates. No insurance means no mortgage. No mortgage means no deal. Or it means the buyer uses it to negotiate the price down even further. The Electrical Safety Authority of Ontario requires either a full copper rewire or specific remediation using Alumicon connectors at every junction, ESA certified. A full rewire in a Hamilton home can run anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. The discount buyers apply if you leave it in can be 2 or 3 times that. Galvanized steel plumbing is the same story. Insurers will flag it. Premiums go up and coverage gets refused. Replacement in Ontario can run, $5,000 to $15,000 depending on the home. And HVAC rentals with Enercare or Reliance, buyers don't want to assume that. That's an extra monthly cost that they haven't budgeted for because that could be $250, $300 a month. That needs to be disclosed and brought out before closing. I've seen that surprise sellers when they're forced to buy it out at the end, spending $5,000 or $10,000 right before closing. Fix it before you list, price it in, or expect to negotiate it off your sale price. Number 5, no dedicated parking. This one is very specific to Hamilton and it affects a lot of older lower city neighborhoods that buyers don't think about until they've already moved in. Areas like Crown Point, Gibson, Beasley, parts of the North End, they all have streets that were built before cars were the norm. They have narrow lots, homes right up to the property line, no driveway, maybe a shared driveway, no garage, and they only have street parking, some of them. Families in 2026 almost always have at least one car, and many have two. And street parking in these neighborhoods is never guaranteed. You're competing with neighbors, visitors, contractors on the street, and in winter, you're dealing with snow removal rules that can leave you circling the block at 11 o'clock at night looking for a spot. When buyers see no dedicated parking in the listing, a large portion of them will stop right there. They don't even need to book the showing. And the ones who do show up are going to use it to negotiate again because they know the next buyer is going to have the same concern. That's a permanent discount that you need to consider. You can't add a driveway to most of these lots without a permit process that may not even be approved depending on the lot size and the neighborhood. So price it in from day one. Listen, if you're navigating any of this and you want to know exactly where your home falls, I put together a free neighborhood guide that breaks down what to look for across different parts of the city. The link's in the description. Now, let's keep it going. The next one is homes adjacent to a gas station. This one can really get people because you don't always realize it's there when you're looking at the listing, but it really matters more than you probably realize. When a home sits directly next to an active gas station, or even where there used to be one, there's an environmental question that follows the property. Underground fuel storage tanks leak. It happens often, and when they do, the contamination can migrate into adjacent soil and sometimes groundwater. Hamilton has had to remediate former gas station sites under its brownfield program for years. But here's what it practically means for you. Some lenders will require a Phase 1 or Phase 2 environmental assessment before approving a mortgage on a property that's immediately adjacent to a gas station. That adds cost, time, and uncertainty to a transaction. Most buyers won't want to go through that process. They'll just move on to a home without that question mark. And smart buyers will check the satellite view before booking a showing. They see a gas station next door and they'll keep on scrolling. It doesn't matter how nice the home is. So if you own a home next to a gas station and you're thinking about selling, get out ahead of it. Find out if there's any documented contamination history. Price accordingly. Don't let a buyer find out mid-transaction and it blows up your deal at the worst possible moment. Number 7 are homes on busy roads. Hamilton has a lot of them. Barton Street, Upper James, Queenston Road, Rymel Road, Garth, Main Street in certain stretches, King Street through specific corridors. These are 4-lane roads with transit buses, truck traffic, and noise running from 6 in the morning until midnight. I just had a client who was looking at a home on Parkdale, which isn't even that busy of a street. It was a really nice property, but sitting in the backyard, they just thought it was a little too noisy for what they wanted, and so they walked away. The moment a buyer sees a home is on one of these busy roads, they often just keep on scrolling. Families with young kids are out immediately. They don't want their kids on a busy street like that. There's a noise concern, safety, lifestyle concerns, all in one. Your home is not worth what a comparable sale 2 streets over on a quiet residential street sold for. It's just not. The road discount is real and it transfers to every buyer who owns that property. I would never list a home on Upper James or Queenston Road without pricing below the comparable street sales, because that's exactly what buyers are going to do. Next, we have something similar where you're backing onto a major highway like the Red Hill Valley or the Link, or onto the railroads. Buyers, again, in 2026, they pull up Google Satellite before they book a showing. They look at what's behind the property, what's on both sides, what may be just a few blocks away. And this is part of shopping for homes. Hamilton has specific pockets where this comes up constantly. Homes that back onto the Red Hill Valley Parkway, properties that are too close to the Link, and homes that are near the CN freight rail corridor that runs through the lower city. The highway's not moving, the rail line is active, and CN freight is not a GO train schedule that you can just tune out. Freight runs at any hour, runs heavy, and in sections close to the steel operations along the waterfront, it runs consistently. Again, in a market where buyers have so much inventory to choose from, they're not going to settle for something that's going to disrupt their life. So these homes sit. Number 9 is homes in the industrial sector. Hamilton's a steel town. It's part of its identity, and it's part of why it's relatively more affordable than some other southern Ontario cities. But there's a specific band of the lower city near the North End and around the Beach Road and Burlington Street near Dofasco where buyers need to understand what they're walking into before they sign anything. We're not talking about mildly industrial. We're talking about Canada's largest steel producer sitting adjacent to residential streets, and the impact is documented. CBC has covered residents near Beach Road talking about soot on their cars and decks, black grime that comes back the next day no matter how often they clean it. EcoJustice filed formal complaints on behalf of Hamilton residents. The Ontario government has site-specific emissions exemptions in place for Dofasco for years because the facility could not meet the standard air quality limits. Those exemptions expired in 2023. The situation is still being worked through. Now, don't let that turn you off Hamilton completely because other areas in the city are fantastic and aren't affected by it. But here's what it means for resale properties in those areas. You can buy a home there that looks like incredible on paper, and some of them are genuinely good homes, but when you go to sell, your buyer pool is going to do what buyers do now. They're going to Google the neighborhood. They're going to see how close it is to these factories. They're going to find those CBC articles, and families with young kids are going to walk. People with respiratory sensitivities are going to walk, and the buyer who's willing to look past it is going to negotiate. Trust me. This isn't me saying don't buy in the North End, because I love the North End. It's a great area, but you might want to avoid an area like Keith. Some people have lived there for decades and love it, but I'm just saying go in with your eyes completely open and understand the resale reality before you commit. Number 10, overpriced homes relative to comparable sales. That's pretty much the most important thing in this market right now. This one covers everything on the list because if you overprice a home in any neighborhood, whether it has all these issues or not, you're invisible. Hamilton's HPI benchmark is about $744,000, down over 5% from last year. Average days on market are 35 to 40 days, 5 months of supply. Buyers know where the market is. They're not paying a premium on a home that is priced above everything else. And they're definitely not paying even the same price as a home that has some of these issues. So if comparable sales on your street are coming in at $780,000 and you want to list for $850,000, your listing will go stale and sit on the market. I promise you that. By day 30, buyers assume something's wrong, or they won't even see it because their search is for $800,000 and less. By day 60, the only offers that'll ever come in are from lowballers who can smell the blood. Your agent will ask you for price drops. They may just cancel your listing. And once you're in that position, you're negotiating from a completely different place than you would have been if you just priced it right the first day. The market is being very clear to sellers who overprice these days. But if you have a clean home, move-in ready, properly priced, it's going to sell.